Herc, you mentioned what Don Hutchison said. It's actually about shyness, and since we know Craig wasn't paying attention, we'll play that clip again for him here.
I hear from the grapevine that he's a little bit shy and a little bit quiet, so maybe it's a chance for Jody and for Frank to try and coax that out of him and make him a team player and make him more demanding on the pitch, because if you are quiet in training, you are quite shy, you're then not going to give your best. That's just inevitable. So I'd like to know the reasons why, if Chelsea do go for Philippe Coutinho, I can't imagine Christian Pulisic staying around forever.
Craig, I know you hear this because every time Don's on FC, he mentions he's good friends with Frank Lampard. So we know that's coming from a very good grapevine. What do you make of what Don says here about the shyness of Christian Pulisic?
My best friend, Frank. I disagree. Listen. I can't comment on the shyness if that's coming from internally, and he's a quiet boy. But I disagree that affects you giving your best day in, day out. Because I've worked with a lot of guys who are screamers and shouters. I've worked with a lot of guys who are quiet. But ultimately, a quiet guy can get on with his business the same as anybody else. Look, the issue here for me is, as a player goes through his career and then makes a step up and piles the pressure on, he's asking himself questions, right? When Christian Pulisic left Dortmund, where he wasn't getting some game time at the end, or certainly not as much as he was a year or so earlier, because of Sancho and because of Brun Larsen, he makes the move to Chelsea. He knew it was coming. It was pre-done. So he's putting himself out there. So he's confident in himself that he's going to be good enough to get the job done. Now, it's sink or swim. We're in the big boys' pool now. You know, we're in the Premier League or the Bundesliga or La Liga or Serie A. There is no room for sentiment. There is no room for, well, how is the American public going to feel about this if he's not playing? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And the American public should stop worrying, and American soccer fans should stop worrying about whoever's going to sign for Chelsea. Because either Christian Pulisic, like every other player, is going to be good enough. He's going to be good enough to hold down a place in the team no matter who they sign, or he's not. And it's as simple as that, really. And, you know, you shouldn't, as a player, worry about who is going to be coming in, because you want better players to be coming in, Seb. Because I think when you play with better players, you play better yourself. And if you're not playing, it's because you haven't shown you're good enough or doing enough to get game time. It's part and parcel of the job. And I don't think the young man will be worried about who Chelsea are going to be bringing in. I think he'll be purely focused on, whenever the season restarts or the next season starts, of showing Frank Lampard on a consistent basis the glimpses of what we saw in the last 6 months or so, which were pretty good.
I'll go ahead, Herc.
I was just going to say, if you're worrying about who comes in at a club like Chelsea, you're going to do a whole lot of worrying, because that's a huge platform, and that's a team that it's always going to have targets linked up with you in your position, and probably 3 or 4 at a time.
So let me ask you both, just straight up, if Coutinho comes, Herc, I'll start with you. Should Pulisic stay?
Yes. I don't want to see the easy way out when we talk about things. I want to see him figure this out. I want to see him puff that chest out, the bravado. I want to see him win and earn his spots.
Craig?
Absolutely, because the likelihood is, even if they sign Coutinho, and I think that's a stretch, is he'll play in the playmaker role. He'll play in some sort of middle of the park, you know, in front of a Jorginho or a Kante. And ultimately, I think Lampard sees Pulisic as a wider guy in the left or the right. And I think, you know, he'll be battling with the Hudson-Odois and people like that for places in the team. So absolutely, it's a squad game. And I don't think for a minute Chelsea will be looking to get rid of Christian Pulisic. And I don't think he'll be looking to leave. He'll be looking to knuckle down no matter who comes in and show what he can do. That's what I think that's what he's going to do going forward.
For the moment then, Christian Pulisic, one of many options for Don Hutchison's close friend, Frank Lampard.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.